Good evening. I am Tisha Waddell of 1119 Landau Road here in Fayetteville. And first of all, hello to the Honorable Mayor who's absent tonight, but in his absence, we thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, for taking the time to hear us, and distinguished members of the City Council. The City of Fayetteville owns 131.56 acres, more or less easement, water and sewer, having all rights and privileges necessary or convenient for full enjoyment or use of this easement in, on, under, over, through, and across this land. This tract of land is on the west side of Rose Hill Road. The above land is a 20-foot wide strip of land used as a utility easement behind the properties on the east side of Rose Lake. On this 20-foot wide strip, we can't build or fence off. If so, the city has the authority to have it removed. The city has stormwater drainage easements between some of the lots on Rose Lake. There are 20-foot wide easements for full service, stormwater runoff, enjoyment, and access for others to get to the lake on the following properties, and those are listed on the paperwork you have. The city also owns 20 acres more or less next to the Riddles property on the west side of Rose Lake. We request that the city cut and clean their easement around Rose Lake. In addition, we request that you have PWC repair or replace sewer lines that run across the corner on Rose Lake. We also request that PWC cut and clean all their easements around Rose Lake. We are requesting that PWC rebuild the dam on Rose Lake that was breached. The rebuilding of the dam will stop the free flow of water into Big Cross Creek and some of the flooding in lower lying areas in the city of Fayetteville. Rose Lake will then become a reservoir again that will hold approximately 156 million gallons of water. I also want to thank you guys for the time that you spent walking around with us. We were very, very appreciative of the fact that you took time out of your schedule. We did reach out to Rob Stone via email per your suggestion. I am waiting on his return call or email. We do recognize that in order for the city of Fayetteville to prioritize this project, the rebuilding of the dam, we do need to demonstrate that this project would in fact alleviate the flooding issue that we're seeing downtown, for example, at the library. We know that the storm that we had was a rare occurrence and that we shouldn't see something like that regularly. However, we also know that area where there's the bridge going down Ramsey Street, crossing into downtown, floods regularly. We also know that there's property when you're coming down, it's Skybo Road, but before you get to Skybo, when you're coming down, there's some land that sits off on the right-hand side. If you're heading toward the mall, it looks very swampy. It wouldn't be. It would probably be viable land to put a business or some other commercial activity in that area if we were able to reestablish that lake. So we are asking that you take this seriously and that you would assist us in our efforts to do that research and find out. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Waddell, and you are the president of the Hillendale West
I am Community Association.
Watch.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah,
We appreciate it.
thank you for having me. So, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem, our final speaker this evening is Mr. Robert Van Goens.
Before we do that, Mr. Manager, this is in my district over there. Can we have someone from the proper department deal with the maintenance of those easements as far as the grass cutting? And I mean, we need to show a good example of taking care of our stuff. So, thank you.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'm gonna forward it to the chairwoman of PWC and to Mr. Trago as the liaison for them to look at the sewer lines and easements.
I'll do that. You can certainly do it, but I'll talk to them about it.
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Ms. Waddell and others, y'all make sure that you see somebody from the city and Mr. Dwight from PWC. Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Clerk.
Yes, sir. Mr. Robert Van Goens.
Thank you. Good evening. Robert Van Giens, 4